Here we are with an old friend at the South Yara Tennis Club, Royal South Yara, with John Alexander, who was the biggest enemy of the Italian tennis in Davis Cup because he was beating all the time both Adriano Panatta and Corrado Barazzuti. I mean, why that? What did you have against them?
But I lost to Antonio Zuccarelli in the first round of the Italian in 1971.
Oh,
So there was a lots of wins and losses. But the great thing, I first met Adriano in 1968, and we were friends then. And if I ran into him tomorrow, we'd be friends again.
yeah, I think you beat him in the final of Trofeo Bonfiglio in Milan,
Yes.
where we had played against the first or second round. I had set points, but of course I lost. But then you went on to win the tournament, so I brought you luck.
That's dead right. Yeah, unbelievably lucky. You said two set points today. I think you said three sets points the other day.
9-7. There wasn't the
Was
tiebreaker.
it on your serve
There
or my
was
serve?
your serve.
Oh,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah. But there was no tiebreaker. So
No?
that means we are a bit old.
Well,
I mean, the tiebreaker came in
Yeah.
1972, something like that.
yeah,
We
that's
played
right.
before.
That's right. Yep.
I lost
Yep.
9-7, 6-3, so I remember.
Yep.
Anyway, look, and then okay, you had a lot of success in Davis Cup. What are your best memories as a tennis player? But the best wins that you consider the most important? Because the other day I spoke with Mark Edmondson, who had won the Australian Open. He said, okay, I beat Newcomb in the final, but for me, the best match I won was with Rosewall in the same ice. Because once you get to the final, you may think that you have 50%. But with Rosewall, for me, was a dream to beat him. What about you? What has been the biggest moment of your tennis career?
Well, I could say in
Many?
1971, I played Ken in Louisville, and I had a win there, and so that was by far the biggest win I'd had to that stage. And probably my best tournament was winning the ATP Championships in Tucson, Arizona in 1975, where I had a really good run. I think I beat Marty Rees and Arthur Ashe, um, John Newcomb, and Ili Nastasi in 1 week.
My God.
And that was a very good week for me.
Of course.
And then the other highlight of my career was playing Davis Cup and playing in Italy against our Italian friends, and then inviting them back the next year, or they won their way back to play in Sydney, and we
In
had
Sydney, you won.
two great matches.
Yeah, in Sydney, there was also Tony Roach playing in your team.
Well, Tony Roach had an unfair advantage because at White City, I think he went for 5 years without losing a match at White City because the grass favoured him and the wind favoured the left-hander at White City. The way
Yeah.
it came in either from the northeast or the southeast, and it favoured his slice serve, and he was very, very hard to play at White City.
Listen, and else, then you have done another sort of career. You became a colleague in a way, no? I mean, a journalist. You've been doing what? Radio broadcasting, TV broadcasting too. And what is your favorite tournament? Where you go more happily?
Well, um, that's always a hard question. You say, well, favourite tournament for what reasons? You know, our national championship, especially I think when it was held at the traditional venues. When I was playing, I think was sort of special, whether it was Kooyong or White City or Memorial Drive in Adelaide. We had some great old lawn tennis clubs where they actually played lawn tennis on grass. What a novel idea. And so they were great. Foro Italica was just the most magnificent stadium. Just loved that from the first time I played
With
there
the
in
statues.
1968.
Yeah.
The marble, the sunken centre court, the going down the tunnel to get to the centre court, and the 4 field courts separated by the beautiful hedges. And and lunch was really nice. Thank you very much. And yeah, it was a great time of the year. The weather was beautiful, and just always loved playing in Italy. When I first travelled with Harry Hopman, I was 16 and we started off playing in Palermo. I did quite well. I got to the quarterfinals until I played Jan Tiriac. Then I lost
Oh,
6-love, 6-love.
oh, really?
And then
Did
I
he cheat
then
or was?
no, he was too good. It was a man playing a boy.
Yeah.
And then the next week I had a really good tournament. I played Ezio,
Di Matteo?
Di Matteo,
Yeah.
and I had a win over him. I thought he was a really good player, so I was surprised about that. And I beat Marty Reeson, and then I played the great Nicola Pietrangeli in
Oh,
the semi-finals,
what did you
and I
do?
lost in 5 sets. And
Oh,
I'd seen Nicola play in the Davis Cup Challenge rounds against Australia, and was a huge fan because he had just such a great charisma and way about him, and he was
fantastic backhand.
beautiful technique. He was great to watch, and then I think he played Martin Mulligan, who we
Yeah.
call Martino Mulligano, in the
Yeah.
final, and then we played in Reggio Calabria in Rome. I lost to Nastasi, I think, in the round of 16. I beat a guy called Sergei Likachev in the second round of
Oh,
Rome. So
yeah.
I was still doing really well. I
Yeah.
thought, and I was getting to not have to go to school, which was a bonus. And try to go back to Italy every year and play.
You should come back even now as a tourist. I would be glad to host you in Florence where you played. You played even very well. I mean, you lost to Jose Luis Berg, then he won the tournament. But I mean, it was a semi-final. I mean, so on clay, not too bad.
Good for an Australian, yeah. I always remember on a really vital point, I had a backhand volley and I just pushed it too deep and just hit it over. I didn't have to hit it that well. These little things that you remember.
Remember. Listen, what do you think about Yannick Sinner? Because everyone in Italy now is incredibly fond of the Italian of the tennis in general, because now tennis is becoming almost as important as soccer. And we have not only Sinner, we have Berrettini, we have Musetti, we have 6 players in the top 50.
And Jasmine Paolini, who's one of our
And
favourites.
Jasmine
I mean,
Paolini is number
she
4. Yeah.
just won our hearts last year. We were playing at the French and Wimbledon, where she did so well. Look, it's my saying is it's a renaissance of Italian tennis,
Yeah.
and you've got great depth. I'd like to know how you're doing it because you're producing a lot of players, men and women, and I think Yannick Sinner he's got the best of all of the great Italian players. He's a great sportsman. I think that's a fundamental thing. He's admired because he plays the game as it should be, and he is just an exquisite player. I mean, he moves beautifully, he hits the ball well, and he's into the final defending his championship here. And
For the second year in a
yes,
row, he won last year.
and it was interesting when he played our champion Alex de Minaur.
Yeah.
You expect the crowd to be pretty one-sided, but they gave him a fair applause, I think, and I thought that was great. But it was as much because of his attitude and his reputation and having had success here that he was genuinely admired.
Yeah, and technical, do you see him capable to win for many years? I mean, winning more slams and one after the other, or just Alcaraz? You think you like more Alcaraz because Alcaraz is has more variety, but probably is less solid. I don't know, or consistent.
I think that Yannick has an advantage. I think that Darren Cahill has done a really good job, of putting an old head on a young shoulders.
Yeah.
And I think Yannick is a more percentage-wise tennis player, and so over 5 sets the percentages come through. I think that Carlos, as brilliant as he is and as talented as he is maturing, and I think he'll learn not to take high risks on big points and play a little bit more conservatively when it's needed, but without snuffing out his brilliance. So it's a great era of tennis that we're going into with these 2 great young players replacing the absent Nadal and Federer, and then you've also got Alex Zverev, who's sort of the middle-aged player coming back at least at this event to play in the final. So, and he can keep those guys honest. And you've also got Djokovic, who's seems he's going to play forever, and he played very well here. I mean, he's a match over Alcaraz. I thought he played as well as he ever did.
Can I ask you something about Kyrgios? You're Australian. What is your reaction to his way of behaving, playing, talking. I mean, what you as an Australian champion you think about someone who could have been much better because he has beaten all the possible guys. He beat Federer, he beat Nadal, he beat Murray, he beat Djokovic, but he never was a top 10.
Well, yeah, he's one of these guys who's got a personality that's you love him on his good days and you lament on his bad days.
Yeah.
He'll take you to high heights and we'll always remember the days that he played these extraordinary matches. But a big part of being a champion is to have that part of the personality where you can persevere and train and turn up day after day to play. And Nick hasn't found that yet. He may, but
You
time
think
is
he still
time.
may? Or?
He might. Look, he's so talented. You'd never say that there's something he can't do. I don't think he was too far off the pace, but I don't think he'd done the training and the physical preparation to compete at this highest level coming into the Australian summer. Whether he's going to sit down and work out that's the case and get his body healthy and then get in shape and really get fit and then play matches. You can't come in from not playing for 2 years and compete in a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
The way he got success the first time was he played satellites, he played qualifying, he played tournaments, and he worked his way into the major league, and then he had success at that major league level. And he's got to, in recreating his career, he's got to go through that same path. And I think if he's got the strength of character to do that, he's capable of doing great things.
Listen, John, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being with Ubi Tennis. I hope to see you in Florence, where you have been, and where I hope you come back and you'll be my guest.
Well, Ubaldo, it's great seeing you here in Australia. I have great memories of us in Italy, and I certainly hope we come to Italy and we'll play. Do you still play a little tennis?
Yes, and
Good.
you?
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll play.
Well,
we'll play
we'll
together.
Play again. With no tiebreaker.
Oh no. Tiebreakers for wimps.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye bye.
John Alexander.